Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ashley Kaltwasser. I'm here with Coach Adam.
Hello.
TeamElitePhysique.com. And today we're going to go over my package at the Japan Pro Show.
Yeah.
And this was a show that Adam didn't get to go to. So this is like his first time seeing like the stage and everything like that. So I really want to go over everything, my experience, my physique. I tried some new things. I took feedback from the last shows and applied it here. But this was the last show of 2023, and I couldn't be happier with the show. It went really well for me.
Yeah.
And it was a great note to end the season on.
What I wanted to do too to start this off is to let everyone see like your experience at Japan.
Yes.
And how crazy epic the shows are. I got a brief clip of it right now. You know, I saw everything happening in live, and I was talking to Sam and she was sending me stuff, but I didn't see like how epic the stage was.
Yeah.
You guys,
they did it big. Like I feel like it was the production quality was that of the Olympia or more, to be honest. Like the lights, the stage, everything, it felt so like exciting in the room. And they're just on a whole nother level of excitement over there. There was so much hype with the show. I felt like it was the Olympia. I really did. So I was really, really happy to make my way there to Japan. I'm so glad I did. So much excitement, so much hype. They're so much more appreciative over there, it seems like. So like it was so cool to experience it all.
Yeah. So let's jump into when Ashley comes on stage, because this is something that I've never really seen before.
It is the coolest stage and intro ever. And you got to see it.
I'm going to keep the sound up. I actually just turned the sound up so you guys can see the experience of it. It is so cool. How cool is that?
What?
Kaltwasser, US. I got goosebumps. I was like, just saying, that's the thing. And it feels like that kind of thing.
Like very anime, like sound effects and
you got stage too.
it's got favorite pin on.
Really? Yeah, this is so cool. Look at our music choices too.
I love it. So hype. So much hype.
You feel that energy when you come on stage?
Yeah.
Like, you feel it?
Not a seat in the auditorium was even empty. So we're all filled. So much hype and excitement in this show.
So cool. I love when we turn the sound off because they're just gonna die in this.
Thank you.
So that is what a intro.
Smoke and everything. That was the coolest show ever. My favorite show of the year.
Really?
By far.
That's awesome. Man, now I'm bummed I didn't go. Like seeing that, like this is so fun. That's so fun. So
we'll go again next year.
Yeah,
we'll be back. I love competing in Asia.
Yeah.
I love it. And not only are the people there just super excited that you're there, I felt the love. Like I feel like I know it sounds silly, but since my structure is a little more petite, I feel like I blend in a little more over there. Like no one was like overpowering me. So I kind of like that too. Oh, goodness.
So all in all, ended up with the win.
I got the win. I got the dub number 43.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And have you, we talked about it on our podcast yesterday, but Ashley has this thing that she's going to be going after. I'm going to throw it out, give it out to you because you already said it. So now I'm like,
I want to tell the world.
So that's on your channel now. It's out there.
This is my goal. So for the year 2024, before the year ends, I want to hit 50 dubs. So right now I'm at 43 and I want to reach 50 dubs. Now, is it going to be hard? Heck yeah. Adam even thinks so as well. And I love that you said that. I love that you said, I don't know, Ashley, it's going to be a tough one. I love that because now it's like a challenge. Now it's fun for me. I'm like, let's freaking do it then.
Yeah.
Watch me. I want to do it. So I'm going to try my best to hit that number. Will I do it? We don't know. Only time will tell, but I'm certainly going to try.
That's cool. Yeah, it's definitely, It's definitely, it's one of those things where it's a really good idea right now, but 10 shows in, we're like, oh man, this is tough. But I think you can't, if anyone could do it, it's you. Anyone else told me that, I'd be like, get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of here.
Hey, listen, a lot of people talk, but they don't walk.
Yeah.
I try to walk and talk.
You've been proving it years and years, but let's jump into these pictures here at this show. All in all, how do you feel, about everything?
So, my feedback from the Olympia was a few things. One was I was maybe a little bit too lean at the Olympia, which looking at the top 3 girls, I was part of that top 3. I was significantly leaner than the other 2. So I definitely agree with that. Now, that doesn't mean I need to get as soft as them, because keep in mind, everyone looks good at a different level of conditioning. Some girls can really pull off a softer look. Me, not so much. I feel like I fit more into that like athletic category. So just even at my best, my leaner look will look a little bit better on me personally. That doesn't mean the other girls can pull that off, and that doesn't mean I can pull off their look. But for me, I do look a little better, a little bit leaner. So I was not overly like crazy lean or anything like that. But one of the feedback that was mentioned was maybe just get a little bit softer, just a little bit. Nothing crazy. And they also suggested that like when I hit my front pose to be a little more, to angle my hips a little more profile. And I agree. I think I should have been a little bit better with that, especially in the comparisons, knowing where I am on the line, just like shifting my hips so that my stomach's not opening up as much, because my best angle would be a little bit more profile, but not like extremely profile. So it's kind of like that in between kind of angle, because that way you can see my glute profile more and my hamstrings more, which I think my glute profile is probably one of my strongest, I guess, body parts is,
especially when you do that, you can see the roundness of your hamstring too. And if you turn it too much, like your quad too much front, you don't see the fullness of your hamstring.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we've played back and forth with that in previous years about what angle is the best for me. And, something that I've discovered is that kind of doesn't apply to now, because as you put on muscle or as your body changes, your poses are going to look different. So maybe a few years ago, I wouldn't looked as good with more profile, right? Because you got to change your posing as your physique changes, basically. And I think in the past too, we have tried a softer, fuller look, and it just didn't make me pop as much. But now, since I've accumulated a little bit more muscle throughout the years, I could probably pull off just a little bit softer. And that's what we did at the Japan show. So if you take a look here, I'm not sure how noticeable it is because I don't expect people to have that precise eye, but I did come in softer for a Japan show in comparison to the Olympia. Now, it's hard to, I guess, compare the two because the lighting is different, right? Yeah. Every show you go to, the lighting's different. You can be a really soft girl, but if you have really hard light, you can look lean, and vice versa. You can be shredded at some shows, but if the light is too bright, then you look soft. So it's not really fair to compare the two side by side necessarily because the light is different, the angles are different, but I can tell you I was softer. So whether you can see that or not with your eyes, I was softer. Okay. So that was intentional. So what did we do to get soft? Well, my metabolism really seemed to rev up after the Olympia for whatever reason. Adam thinks it's because I was less stressed after Olympia.
I think there's something to do with it.
Yeah. Some things you just can't explain. And I agree. So at some points in the year, it seems like my metabolism speeds up so much that it's just like hard to not stay lean. Like, you know what I mean? So with that being said, I really had to push the carbs and fats the week of the show. So that's why everyone saw me eating a lot of mochis. I love mochi. It's my carb of choice. Basically just like rice flour ball with some mashed up beans in there, a little bit of flavoring or sweetener. So a little bit of sugar in there too, depending on what flavor you get. But it's like the perfect carb because it really just digests quickly. Everything's mashed up already. So anyway, a lot of mochis, a lot of nut butters, things like that to get me nice and full, because we intentionally wanted to come in softer, like we said, because after Hawaii, I was still super lean, even though I was eating more. So, even like a few days before the show and then the night leading up in show, I was like, Adam, I think I might be still too lean. Like for what we're trying to achieve, because Japan was the last show of the year. So we decided just to go for it. Let's try something. In bikini, you have to try different looks. You can't just stick with one look without experimenting. Like, let's try to come in a little softer. If I'm going to choose any show to do it, it would be Japan, because it's the last show of the year. And I don't have a show after. So if I spill or get a little too soft from all the influx of calories, it doesn't matter quite as much because I don't have a show the next week. It's like, whatever, you know? So anyway, even the day before the show, I was like, I'm still a little bit too lean. So what did we do? I pushed sodium so much, because sodium, it's a little tricky. It can be risky because it can really make you a lot fluffier. But desperate times, right? So I really tried to load the sodium so that I would intentionally get a little bit softer. And that seemed to really have worked, even I would say more so than the carbs, because it gave a more instant reaction. Yeah. So by the next morning, I'm like, oh yeah, this is it. This is the limit. No more, no more leanness. Like, or no more softness, I should say. Yeah. I don't want to get any softer than this. So that seemed to have done the trick. And I got a great pump backstage. I was drinking the whole day of the show. I got in probably like a half gallon before I went on stage, because I didn't go on stage till 3 p.m. So that gave me enough time to drink up. And yeah, look at me. I'm just doing all these little experimentations. And it seemed to really work.
Yeah. And I think that that's important for people that are out there to see, especially the water thing, because people get confused in the water thing so much. You know, they're just like, oh, I'm going to cut my water. I'm going to take water pills, whatever, and trying to like cut water. I'm like, the top girls, a lot of them are just drinking water still the day of the show. Yeah. You know, that whole cutting water thing and looking like super, super shredded isn't bikini anymore. It really never was, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's like, you just have to understand, hey, even a half a gallon of water is, some people would be like, that's crazy to them to have a half gallon of water. And the other thing to take into account is that sometimes weird things just happen. You know, you just start leaning out. One time, as a good example, when she came back from the UK, she just all of a sudden got like super stringy, and she never gets like what she was just like leaning out. It came, I don't, were you like 117 or something at that point?
Something like that. Yeah. It was, I dropped a lot of weight after the show. That's another example. My metabolism just like revved up. Oh, right? I ate a lot of it after. Yeah. Carbs, fats, and then a lot of everything.
And on stage, to give you a reference, is in the range of 120 to 122 is going to be pretty standard for Ashley in that range. Coming back at like 117, it was a big difference. I was like, whoa, what, you know? So that started happening again, and it didn't really make sense, because when we started going to Hawaii first, and we were kind of erring on the side of, oh, the humidity out there.
Yeah, let's be careful.
Yeah, we're like, we might have to
I'll get softer anyway, just because of the humidity. Yeah.
And then when I got out there, which was like 2 days before the show, then I was like, oh, we're good. We don't have to worry too much. Like you're not puffing up. You're not puffing up. So we're good. We had a few carbs that day, and then you carried it over to Japan, and all of a sudden got leaner again. I was like, what's going on? You're in like 2 like island places, right? Where there's high humidity, and you're just getting leaner and leaner. So, you know, different. Every prep's going to be different. Every peak week's going to be different. That's a lesson I learned in the past. Don't stick to one peak week. You know, that's going to be different for every person. And I think that it's always going to be situational. And that's why it's a good example that you show, hey, sometimes you're going to have to do some crazy things. Just drink some water, have some sodium, have some mochis.
I love the mochis.
It's a mochi party Ashley was having.
Yeah. And another thing to note as well is I quit cardio basically at like, when was my last cardio? Like a few days before Olympia or the week of the Olympia. I want to say, no, it was Sunday. That one 10K race I ran was my last cardio session. Right. That was the Sunday before the Olympia. I walked since then. I don't count walking as cardio, you know. But yeah, I haven't done any. I've just quit cardio cold turkey, and my metabolism was still super on fire. So not complaining, but it was like, it gets a little scary sometimes, because it's like, oh shoot, I am too lean for bikini right now. Oh my gosh, especially if we're trying to figure out this fuller look. But yeah, I'm super happy that we tried that. And if you notice, I also brought back the red suits and straight hair as well. I've been wearing green a lot this year, and I just wanted to switch it up. I wore red a few times. I wore it at the Mile High in Pittsburgh, but I haven't worn my hair straight in a long time. And I forgot how easy that was to style. I was like, shoot, I should bring that back a few more times. I don't mind the straight hair. It was really like easy. Like it's like I don't have to worry about my curls falling and everything like that. So taking a look here at the first call out, as you can see, like no one seems to really overpower me that much. And like I said, that's what I love about this area of competing. And maybe I shouldn't stereotype it like that because it could just be the show. But one thing I did notice is like in Asia, they typically tend to be a little more petite like me. And like in Europe, they have a tendency to be bigger and leaner, more muscular girls. So I kind of felt like I fit in pretty well here, which was nice. All the girls were fantastic and they just were really, really excited to compete with me, which I was thinking was very flattering. They were very, very sweet. So the show went really well for me. My feedback was the best feedback I've ever gotten. It was, can't really think of anything. Don't change. Looks great. Awesome. I'm like, sure, nothing that they can think of. So I don't know. I like the straight hair vibe. The straight hair red suit. It was a vibe.
Yeah.
It was definitely a vibe.
I'm a fan of it. I've always been a fan of that. Yeah. The red hair. I love this suit too. This suit it's just like the perfect red.
Yeah.
You know, it's the perfect red.
It's a little bit of an ombre going on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an angel suit, correct?
Angel competition bikinis. Code Ashley K Fit to save 20%.
So yeah, it's an awesome look. Good cut. Everything looks really, really well. And you could see, you know, there's a little bit more fullness. She just has that. I always like to think of it as like, you know, you pumped up a tire to the max. You know, you just like pumping up a bike tire, and any more pumping, you're gonna pop it. You know, that's gonna be the spilling over. But you are round and you're full. I really like this look. Now, there's really nothing I'm seeing here that would say, you know, too soft in any way, and that's what the judges said too. So, you know, there's no signs of it, and you look for those like little signs in key places like the glutes or, you know, lower back and things like that, and it's just not there. Everything looks right at that bikini lean, so it's perfect. Yeah,
I will say this is probably my limit of softness though. I do have a small range.
You do have a tiny range.
A tiny range. So that was basically the limit of softness. You know, I don't think I can pull off getting any softer than this. I think it'd be smart just to stay between the range of the Olympia lean and this amount of lean, you know. I think if I get any softer, I'm going to start playing with fire a little bit more.
Yeah, you can see your tie-ins are still there. There's no separation of the hamstring. Everything is where they want it to be in terms of your conditioning on that back pose too. And so, yeah, I think that if you push it any more, we're going to start losing the tie-in area. You know, we'll start blurring that a little bit too much. So, yeah, this is a good spot. I think this is it's a fun experiment for sure.
Yeah.
To see, but yeah, the feedback was great. You know, and that's the thing is at the Olympia, they weren't saying, oh, they were saying maybe just the tiniest bit, but they weren't saying, oh, you're too, you know, you're
right.
too,
like, oh, wow, drastically too late.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's when, you know, you're like right in that small window of too tight and too soft. Like you're right there. They're like, oh, you're just a little, like they can't tell you you're too lean. They can kind of tell you maybe a little softer, but it's like this hard thing because they don't want to guide you down the wrong road.
Right.
Because it's, you know, that you're there as a coach. That's when you know you nail the conditioning. Like when you're backstage, and it's with you and with any athlete. When I know I'm like close and bordering on it, when they say to me, you know, I wouldn't bring her in any harder. You're like, okay, so she's right, right? So
yeah.
So that's one of those ones you gotta like read between the lines on, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I see it though. I see how I was a bit leaner than the top girls in the top three, but you know, I think if we take a zoomed out perspective and look at everyone as a whole, it's kind of like I probably am in the middle of my conditioning, like middle. Like I'm not the most conditioned. I'm not the least conditioned. So, but in that first call out, I agree. I was significantly leaner in my opinion, which again, not necessarily a bad thing for me, but something just to be aware of. I got to be careful. Got to be careful not to get too soft or too lean. My range is very small. So,
yeah. And you know what? I want to. You don't want to see again. Can we see this thing again?
Yeah.
This is so. Could you guys just take a second and appreciate how Japan does their shows? Because
you need to bring them here.
Man, This is so epic. Like, imagine being on stage and then this is happening, you know? Like this.
日本のステージに帰ってきてくれたぞ。続いてはこの選手だ。
So cool. This part.
さあ、オリンピアでも見せてくれたエントリーナンバー9、アシュリー・カルトワサー、フロー US。
It's so epic. Like just the tone and everything. You know what I realized is that when they're picking you, it's like they're picking a fighter out of all the characters.
Oh,
it's what it is. Like when they highlight, they go ching like you.
Yeah.
That's what happens in like a fighter game, like a Street Fighter or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the songs are so epic.
I know, and I like how they don't have lyrics. Sometimes it's like, what are we doing? Like, shoot your booty or something.
Watch this part. So it's like they're selecting a fighter. Watch. So like, here. Oops. I just messed it up. Sorry.
It's okay.
I got excited. See, he's gonna be so excited. This thing. But you see the scroll through. Oh wait. We can get this part. Sorry. I was right there.
Just go to this.
That's it.
Yeah. Go to
日
this.
本のステージに帰ってきてくれた
It's
ぞ。
like they're selecting a fighter.
この選手だ。
Like a character on Street Combat or something. Those are all your characters. They're going through. When you select one, it goes, see?
さあ、オリンピアでも見せてくれた
That's so
エントリ
cool.
ーナンバー9、
Video game.
アシュリー・
Yeah,
カ
I'm
ルト
telling
ワ
you.
サー、フロー US。
I felt so special. I felt like a superstar. I really did. I felt like a superstar.
So cool.
And the coolest thing is like every girl did, you know?
Yeah.
Every girl had their thing highlight. Every girl before they went on had that scroll. It was the coolest experience. I'm telling you, it was my favorite.
How do they even manage that? Like it's such a 30, there's 30 bikini and then there's bodybuilding and then there's, you know.
They do it big. I'm telling you. I'm
That's
telling you.
wild.
We need these production people here.
Yeah.
We need you guys. Good job. I'm coming back. I'm coming back.
That's crazy. Yeah, that was so, that's just the time that would take to set each of those graphics up.
Yeah.
It's not like they're doing it like like we think of like picking Mortal Kombat. That's already pre-programmed. We can do that. That's like done in a video format, like prior to it. Like each role is a role, you know, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. And you know, something that, like I said, they do it big. I probably did about 8 interviews. Like they treated me so special. Like it was such a big deal when I won. It was really cool. It was like, wow. It was like, I was so happy. And then I lost my phone, but then, you know,
yeah.
but yeah, it was great show. Great show. We're coming back. You got to come back.
Yeah.
We're coming back.
Yeah. And anything else happened at the show that was like,
well, they didn't show it in the YouTube video that we watched, but they still do the pose down over there in Asia.
Oh, really?
Yes. I had to step,
that I didn't know.
I had to step on stage with them, all the girls. I'm sorry. They didn't bring the guys on for this, but it was just the bikini girls. And it was like, you know, it's a little awkward, but because they didn't know what to do. I was like,
it is strange when they do like bikini pose downs or any women division pose down besides like women's, like anyone that's not like doing, you know, biceps and stuff like that. Cause it's like,
we're not like hitting flexes. We're just hitting poses.
Yeah. So you just keep rotating front and back.
Yeah.
It becomes kind of, yeah.
Yeah. That was a little different. And then also, so you heard the announcer was speaking Japanese. When they did the call outs with the judges, it was in English. So I had no problem like, okay, turn to the back, walk forward, all in English, no problem. But they do things a little differently over there too, where like in America, they would kind of call us from the diagonals and be like 5th place, 4th place, 3rd place goes to 2nd, you know, and so on. So it was a little different over there because first off, the guy was speaking in Japanese. That was the same announcer that was announcing our names, was doing the top 5. And the way people were clapping and cheering, I was like, I was thinking that was like they were doing the top 5 like in order, like 5th place, blah blah blah. So the 5th place girl got to the line, and I'm like, oh great, this girl got 5th place. She's so excited. She was like, oh my gosh. And everyone was clapping for her. I'm like, oh good, 5th place. And then they called me at 4th place, and I'm like, well, I wasn't expecting that because the call outs like, I was like in the middle, and not that that's always the like sure indication that you're going to get like top 2, but I was like, oh, well, here's a surprise. Well, all right. And then they were calling me. So that got called 4th, and then what I thought was 3rd, and then 2nd. And then I didn't realize it because until they called what I thought was the 1st place girl. Cause I'm like, well, where's her award? Like, they're not going to put an award in front of her. And then they called us off to the diagonal. I'm like, oh, that was like an introduction of the top 5, but in no particular order. It was just, let me introduce the top 5 and then take them back. So we don't do that here in the USA. We might do like at the Olympia, like a top 10 kind of, and they get to do their routines, but we didn't get to do our routines again. It was just, here's a lineup of the top 5. It's almost like we were getting compared again, but we weren't because we didn't get switched or anything. So in my mind, I thought that was like the placings, but I didn't realize it until the 1st place girl never got like any award. So then they brought us back to the diagonal, and then they started, okay, now this is top 5 in order. And that because I saw them put the awards down, and then they would take pictures, and then I wasn't 4th. I won. So that was like, oh, now I know how it feels to be a foreigner coming to the USA because I couldn't understand the Japanese, and some people can't understand the English. So I'm like, oh.
Yeah, sometimes I get it. I don't realize it as a spectator when I'm watching shows, and it'll be a lot of foreign girls, and then they'll say competitor 23, trade players competitor 27, and they're just like smiling, and I'm like, guys, like listen to the judges, like, but then you don't realize that they have no idea what anything they just said, and I'm like, why is no one paying attention to the judges? Like, know your number, guys, know your number, and then I'm like, oh, she's from whatever, So
no, that makes sense.
That was you.
But luckily, like I said, at least the judges spoke English, and I didn't have any problem with that. But when they did the announcing, I was like, oh, well, I don't know what's going on. Okay.
Shout out to the bikini girls who understood at least the English numbers.
Yeah.
If they were speaking English, because I just caught that because every one of them they were saying it in English, the numbers, and it wasn't translated when they were saying it, right? I don't think it was.
No, I don't think so. I think for the most part, they can understand some English when it comes to things like that, or, or front pose back. They might have it memorized, like turn to the front, turn to the back, just because they know they need to memorize it. I'm not sure. But shout out.
That was pretty flawless. You would never have that. You would never have that happen with Americans. We're so bad.
I know. They only teach us one language for the most part. Sometimes two if you live in South, but I only know one.
So, any final thoughts?
Can't wait for 2024. Let's see.
Thank you, Japan. That was cool.
We love you, Japan.
That was you guys are doing it right, man. That is epic, epic show.
For Japan.
Seriously. That is some cool stuff.
Oh, you got
I got
your thumb. And I remember your thumb tattoo. We took photos in Japan, and we were like this.
Yeah.
And it was fresh at the time.
Yeah.
In 2018.
That's where it originated, was this thumb tattoo's got a long story about it behind it, but it's originated with us doing smiley faces on her thumbs because all the Japanese girls were taking pictures with her like this, and then she did thumb, and then it just ended up like, this is gonna be my memory.
Yeah.
That was my most epic trip I've still been on. That's still my favorite trip.
Oh man, wait till 2024.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, so thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment for Ashley and her crazy venture of 2024. Sorry, but the cockroach is not dead yet.
No.
Talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.